We've seen so many NBA debates come and go over the years, and one of the closest and hardest to decide debates in recent memory has involved the center position, more specifically Anthony Davis versus Nikola Jokic. Two players with similar numbers and excellent talent at what they do for their respective teams. So today we're going to take a look at which of these players we think is better than the other at this point in time by covering multiple categories. The first category to dive deeper into is their stats. Anthony Davis is coming off a campaign in which he played just 40 games for the Los Angeles Lakers. He averaged 23.2 points, 9.9 rebounds, and 3.1 assists a game. Throughout the course of his career in the league, he's played in 604 games and keeps averages of 23.8 points, 10.2 rebounds, and 2.3 assists. When it comes to the totals in his career, Davis has accumulated 14,390 points, 6,163 rebounds, and 1,414 assists. As for his best season in the league so far, that came in 2016-17 when he averaged 28 points a game. He also grabbed 11.8 rebounds and had 2.2 blocks each contest.
Down. Halliburton, good beat again. Whoa, they reject Thompson.
Now flipping over to Nikola Jokic, he just had himself an excellent season. He played in 74 games last year and averaged 27.1 points, 13.8 rebounds, and 7.9 assists. Over the course of his career, he's played in 527 games and averaged 19.7 points, 10.4 rebounds, and 6.2 assists per game. Now, those numbers might be a little lower than his recent season, but they're still excellent numbers to have throughout the course of a career. When it comes to his totals, Jokic has put up 10,364 points, 5,456 rebounds, and 3,281 assists. We don't really need to talk about his best season either because his last campaign just saw him put up those excellent numbers across the board.
Yeah, Sacramento trying to drive in. There's Jokic, that man again. Jokic with the block shot, his second tonight. Oh, that is just beautiful.
As for the winner of this category, we're going to roll with Jokic on this one. Jokic not only impacts the game as a bit more of a scorer than Davis, but he's a far better playmaker and slightly better rebounder too. Next, we're going to cover their head-to-head matchups. Anthony Davis and Nikola Jokic have played each other a total of 22 times, with 5 of them coming in the postseason. Davis narrowly holds on to the lead in the series against Jokic, winning 12 of those 22 games. He's won 1 less regular season game than Jokic in the series, but won 4 out of the 5 playoff games with them. When it comes to the total stats in these games, it's a pretty interesting situation. Davis has averaged 27.9 points, 7.7 rebounds, and 2.5 assists per game. Meanwhile, when they play head-to-head, Jokic only averages 18.2 points, 8.7 rebounds, and 4.9 assists. So Jokic has very minimal leads in both rebounds and assists, but he's got a really big disadvantage in points per game.
Similar players, right? Both at 6'10", both can shoot the three, run the floor, and both are very challenged at the defensive end.
Davis taking on Jokic.
These two players are incredibly competitive when they face off, and their numbers against one another are so similar overall. However, we gotta give this section to Davis. That 10-point per game difference over Jokic is just too large to overlook. Plus, he's won the playoff series against them, and he holds on to a lead in the series overall against Jokic head-to-head. Alright, moving on, you can't talk about which player is better than the other without at least covering their basic accolades. Davis was able to make it onto the 2012-13 All-Rookie team, the All-NBA team 4 times, the All-Star Game 8 times, and the NBA 75th Anniversary team. Davis has been able to end the year as the blocks champion 3 times so far in his career, and he was on the All-Defensive team 4 times too. Then, to top it all off, Davis is a 2020 NBA champion and an All-Star Game MVP.
Here, Cunningham blocked by Davis. They still have time though. 7 on the clock. Cunningham all the way. Blocked by AD.
Now as for Jokic, he made it onto the NBA All-Star Game 4 times, the All-NBA team 4 times, and the 2015-16 All-Rookie team. Jokic was also a back-to-back MVP winner in the league to top it all off. This one entirely depends on how you view certain awards.
Come on now, Joker, over the shoulder to will the thrill.
Davis is the one with a championship to his name, while Jokic has not one but 2 MVPs to his name in 3 less years. In all honesty, it's kind of a bit of a judgment call here, so we're going to go with a tie on this category. Next up, we take a look at how these players have seen their teams perform. Davis missed the playoffs with the New Orleans Pelicans in 5 out of his first 6 years. That 6th year, they did make it into the playoffs, but they wound up getting swept by the Golden State Warriors. In 2017, Davis took the Pelicans into the conference semifinals. They proceeded to miss the playoffs once again the year after that, and before he could even blink, Davis was off to the Los Angeles Lakers. He spent 3 seasons with them at this point, and he won the NBA Finals against the Miami Heat in his first season there. He then lost to the Phoenix Suns in the playoffs the following year, and then missed the playoffs entirely in their most recent campaign. Overall, there's only been a few seasons where we saw Davis lead teams that were actually successful, though it did result in a championship. Flipping to Jokic now, he missed the playoffs the first 3 years of his career, but then he took them into the semifinals in his 4th season. They got into the conference finals the following year, but couldn't make it past the eventual champions, the Los Angeles Lakers, and Davis. The year after that, he lost in the semifinals again, and last year he lost in the first round to the Warriors. So both players have had similar struggles in the early rounds of the playoffs and issues missing the playoffs entirely early on in their careers. But Davis did win a championship though, so it's hard to say he's not deserving of winning the team success category in this debate. And of course, you can't compare two players without checking out some of their highlights. It's not entirely unexpected that both Anthony Davis and Nikola Jokic have put together a phenomenal highlight reel so far. These two centers usually make the crowd go wild with some of the plays that they make on any given night. Here, we're going to show you all exactly why these players are so highly regarded. Take a look at these highlights.
Excellent defense in that instance.
Davis with a quick spin on Jokic. Boy, that is vintage Anthony Davis.
Back to Anthony Davis. Just watch the footwork. Just squares up on him.
Missed 18 games with a foot injury. I called the game that he was injured right before All-Star break, and that's what AD does. Jokic trying to disrupt Rondo. He puts it in. Here's Davis, 4-3 in the win. Oh, it's good! Anthony Davis! Anthony Davis is going to send the Lakers to a 2-0 series lead in the clutch. Davis on Jokic, pounding him. One of the great defenders in the game. Jokic running into a wall. The one-footer is good.
They will all celebrate tonight. Jokic with another pass as Murray got fouled.
Now.
And it right in his hands.
Banks on him. Oh my goodness. Makes that play.
All right, moving on now. What exactly are these guys known for in the league? We've grown to remember these two players for completely different reasons over the years. Anthony Davis is currently known to be a player who just doesn't get the chance to showcase how talented he is consistently. And what I mean by that is that his injuries are always getting the best of him. Those made of glass comments have been coming in hard in recent memory, but that doesn't take away from him being arguably the most talented big the league has to offer right now.
And Davis goes behind the back. Little crossover. Davis!
Meanwhile, Jokic is also in that conversation of being the most talented big in the league. The only difference is that he excels in a completely different style of play. Davis likes to shoot and score points with his offensive skill set, while Jokic is an incredible passer with eyes in the back of his head. But don't get me wrong, Nikola can still shoot the ball from deep and he can back down his opponents too.
Jokic on the cut. The reverse layup is a beauty. Hang time.
So these two centers in the league are some of the best at what they do, and it's not often you see two guys at this position performing like how they have been in recent memory. So, with all that to take into account, who do you guys think is the winner? Well, at the end of the day, I gotta say I believe Nikola Jokic is the better player here. The past few years have seen Jokic dominate the game as evidenced by his back-to-back MVPs. Plus, he shouldn't be knocked too hard for not winning a championship just yet because Jamal Murray has missed a lot of time over the last few years due to injuries. Plus, when Davis got his championship when he beat Jokic and the Nuggets in the NBA bubble, he did have LeBron James as his teammate. Availability also goes easily to Jokic, as Davis seems to miss tons of games every year because of various injuries. So, what do you guys think? Is Jokic a better player than Anthony Davis at this point in time, or is Davis better despite missing so much time? Let us know down in the comments. We want to hear what you think.